find his way into the chase. Jeff Burton trying to find his way to victory lane. It's been a while. Charlotte a couple of years ago. 40 laps to go in Loudon, New Hampshire, and we watched the battle from 12th on back. Montoya 6th at the restart a moment ago, but he's been free falling and he's been getting physical, Wally.
Yeah, he's pretty much bounced off of everybody that's even come up to him. I'm really surprised nobody's turned him yet, but he's got a lot of damage on the front of his car. You see, this was from earlier, and I think this really messed up his splitter here, Kyle, because there's some damage on his right front. And if you look at the splitter now, which you were pointing out earlier, it's way up in the air on one side.
It's way up on on the right side, out here next to the wall, right there. You see how bad his foot, and it looks like when he got into the 33, it just jacked it up on the rear tire. Matt.
KP, they're hoping for a caution with so few cars in the lead lap. They'd like to get a new set of tires on there and fix that wicked loose, and also now adjust the cosmetic damage that they've got to that front splitter, because aerodynamically that car is just awful.
Yeah, there's no doubt that's hurting it. There's no doubt that's hurting the car. At the same time, you know, one, he was racing the 24 car. He and the 24 got together. 2 cars got by him. Then he and the 33 are racing. They get together, and 3 more cars get by him. So, I mean, he's losing lots of ground right here for a car that was as fast as he was. And he's got this pack backed up.
Yeah, he's got everybody stacked up. He's got 15 cars behind him that he's holding up right now.
Tony Stewart a little off sequence as far as pit cycle was concerned because of a fueling issue on their first stop of the day.
But Tony is coming, because we saw just a minute ago the 5 car and the 17 car and the 47 right on the 42. Tony has driven around those guys and driven his way up to the 42 now, and Tony's not going to have much patience for him right here. I can tell you, not at this point in time, because now Tony's back in the race.
What's he saying, Marty?
Well, Adam, they've only gained 2 spots since the restart, but you're right, KP, they are coming, because what Tony hopes for is a long green flag run here. Yesterday in practice, the longer this 14 car ran, the better they got. And compared to the rest of the field, they're better than the rest of the cars in a long green flag run. So for Stewart, for once today, he's hoping now for no cautions now until the end of the race.
Stewart right now in the 12th position.
See, Tony has come through those 3 or 4 guys. He wasn't even in the photo a minute ago, in the picture a minute ago. He's come through those 3 or 4 guys, and within a lap has stretched that much on. That shows how good his car is, or how good his car is driving. Those other guys can get to the 42, but their cars are just bad enough that he just holds that pack up.
The thing is, he's going to have to make 18 seconds up on the leader. I mean, I'm not sure you'd run another 15-point laps, then get a caution and get some of that erased.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's going to take a caution to make up that kind of ground on this crowd. And the thing is, it's not that this crowd. You see these guys bouncing off each other back here, the 17 and the 47. You know, these guys at the front, nobody's run them down all day long. If we look at the 31, if we look at the 18, if we look at these guys that are up front, really there's only been a few times that these guys in these positions have changed up here. So it's not that these guys are going to run these guys down. They've got to get clear and be able to run their race to get away from this pack.
But even, like I said, you only have 34 laps to go.
Yeah.
These guys need some help with the caution and erase that gap. There's no way they're going to make up that much time, because the leader's smoking around here at 30.2, and you know, these guys are running 30.5. Not going to happen.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., we've documented the positive run he's had today. 9th is where he has scored, right behind Newman in 8th. Both drivers who sit right outside the top 12 in points. As of now, Junior 13th in the standings, 4 points off of 12th. Edwards currently holding down that final chase position. Newman right behind him. Jeff Burton leads, Jimmy Johnson closing in at New Hampshire. Jeff Burton continues to lead the Lenox Industrial Tools 301 in Loudon, New Hampshire. Driver 31 has company, though. Here comes Jimmy Johnson. And now it's time to get with Larry McReynolds to find out his rankings of today's fastest pit crew. Larry?
Well, Adam, a lot can happen in 26 laps here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, but I'm looking at that 31 car, Jeff Burton, Todd Berry. They started back in the 17th position. They've made the right adjustments all day long. They've really been mistake-free on pit road. That's my pick. I'm going to go back there to the 18 car. Dave Rogers and Kyle Busch started in the 22nd position. Dave Rogers on that first caution at lap 36 went with 2 tires, got the track position, a lot of adjustments on that car. And how about Mike Shiplett and A.J. Allmendinger, the 43 car, started 28th. If this race can stay caution-free, A.J. may get his second top 5, his career top 5. The only other one he's ever had was in the 2009 Daytona 500.
It's been a long drought, but an impressive day for A.J. Allmendinger. And don't forget, fans, your vote counts each week. Be sure to text the car number to 2258 for the pit crew you think is the fastest and most valuable. The AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year award brought to you by AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. We watch Burton and Johnson at the front, and this has been a nice little race for position. Newman and Earnhardt Jr. continuing to exchange blows. This for 8th. See Newman's hands working there into the corner.
Now, inside.
It's taken about 5 or 6 laps for Junior to get to this point where he can at least get next to Ryan, getting into the corner. But that outside line is just hard to beat when you're coming off the corner like here, because it's just that's where your car needs to be. And if you're on the low line, you just can't get on the gas.
Yeah, and while this is going on and these guys are racing, you see Boyer right there has snuck into the picture. We remember Boyer in the 42 car and him struggling, his struggle with Montoya back there, the breakthrough of that pack. But that's, you know, at the beginning of the race, these guys said that. I can get position on somebody, but really driving up off the corner on the low side is a tough way to go. And you see Junior get position right to the bumper with about half of his car, but he just can't close the deal up off the corner.
And this is a huge race in regard to the points, Wally, because if you look at Newman, Junior, and Boyer, they're 13th, 14th, and 15th in the standings right now.
Yeah, it really is. If they can bring this home, this is going to be a big help for them on trying to keep it in, you know, get into the top 12.
But it's like we talked earlier. You know, if you're racing against each other, trying to gain ground on each other, you don't gain anything. Here you are 13th, 14th, and 15th, and here you are racing on the racetrack. What? 8th, 7th, or 8th, 9th, and 10th. So you don't really gain anything. That's the tough part about Cup racing. It's hard to make up those points because these guys are so competitive week in and week out, and they run the same.
But the thing is, guys like Biffle and Kenseth and those guys had bad days. So all 3 of these guys are racing each other, yet they're moving up because there's a lot of guys in the top 10 that are having not so, you know, Edwards is back in 27th right now.
The race to the chase in full swing. More on Newman with Ralph.
You know, he's been tight in the center all day, Adam, and as you watch him fighting his way around on the outside of the racetrack, you can really see him fighting to get that car to turn right in the center. See how he starts to push up a little bit, and that's right where Junior starts to take advantage of it.
But you know the funny part, we saw it with Montoya, we saw it a little bit with Junior there getting in the corner. When you go in, this track has multiple radius. You go in and it's flat, and then you hit that bank. Oh,
trouble! Montoya goes around.
When you go in and hit that bank, it just unloads the car. Let's see who ended up getting Montoya. Somebody had to have, because he had made a lot of people mad by that point in time.
3rd caution of the day.
Either that or the left rear finally did go.
Yeah, it could have. That's a good point. That's a good point, because he'd already been into the left rear with the 24 car earlier. That's a hard hit right there. You see how the thing is all.
19 to go, and we see what happened. Racing with Reed Sorensen.
Oh, Sorensen just. Do you see the wheels cocked pretty hard to the right?
Wow, that's a hard hit right there, too.
Montoya ought to be happy about this.
Yeah, he's not going to be happy about this. He's not going to be happy about this because Montoya was a lead lap car in the race, and the 83 car of Reed Sorensen was down. And Reed just goes in, and the car, same thing that Montoya had done to the other ones, and we just talked about Junior. You go across that flat, the car kind of unloads itself a little bit. You have to chase it up the racetrack, and Montoya is so close, they're just into each other.
Good to see Montoya out of the car. As Kyle pointed out, it was a hard hit. 3rd caution of the day, the first one for an incident on track. We did have debris for our first caution. That one coming out at lap 36. Another one at lap 240 when Casey Kane littered all the oil down the back straightaway, losing his engine. This is 5 laps before we actually got the contact that brought out the caution.
Yeah, and they just come off and get together right there, you know, and you know, so obviously, when we finally see the wreck happening, these guys have been racing side by side for 4 or 5 laps. If this was 5 laps prior, and you know, this is when you're Montoya, and look, we've all been lap cars, and but